My last install video, I showed how to install these flash view anchors. That was a pretty straightforward process, especially once the sun came out and the tar strips were loosened or like warmed up. I was able to actually, once it was hot out here, just slide them under without any kind of extra hammering away. Otherwise, when it was a little cooler, I'd have to use the pry bar and my rubber mallet to kind of loosen it up and then slide it under there. Similar process happened when I was installing the Soladeck junction boxes. I will talk about that in just a second, but first off, the rails are pretty easy to install. On these longer segments, I had to splice them together. Some of the other iron ridge splices require screws, but the newer ones do not. They just have like a spring clip and some little teeth. And so you kind of attach them throughout, and then using a level, just making sure the whole thing is level. And it worked pretty well. Then basically the next step was I think I did the microinverters, which just attach with a smaller one of these. All these things have a specific torque spec. I have a bigger torque wrench that I use for my automotive work, like doing brakes and other kind of stuff like that, and I just bought a smaller one that goes by inch pounds for these types of things. The Soladeck actually is fairly straightforward. It's a little bit more involved with the flashing end of things than just the flash view anchors, but because you have to actually cut some shingles, and sometimes get some nails loose, and then you're basically just drilling a hole through that's bigger than the hole inside there. I'm not going to open it up. I'll put a picture on the screen of what the wiring looks like, but you can use terminal blocks. But I'm just using wire nuts because that's what Project Solar told me to do. So this is the whole system, and actually you can see on this end, I got some panels on here too. These were the first ones we did. And then after the Soladecks were installed, I did the wiring, the Q cable, I think it's called, and here's a Q term. It's basically just like the end of the string. So in this case, this string here on the bottom row, and then this one here, I think go with those 3 over on the garage, and then these 5 and these 6 are together in a string. I did have to zip tie all of this stuff in a certain way so that it's not you can't have the wires touching the shingles. So that's once I got on a roll with these, it was pretty easy. And then you can see over here, there's everything's going into the junction, the Soladeck junction box. I got these strain relief, wire strain relief things that tighten down, and they clamp down as you tighten them up. And they're supposed to be waterproof too. Also, this you can see here, every single rail has to be grounded. So we got some copper wire in these special grounding lugs. The panels themselves ground to the rail, so you really only have to do one rail for each row of panels. So over on the garage, there's really only one rail that needs to be grounded because the panels themselves ground. And similar here, I didn't have to go all the way down. And then, yeah, once those are all, you plug all those in and make sure all the zip ties are good and secure, and then I'm actually going to do a whole separate video on the wiring because I did that already too. And that was actually a lot more time consuming than the rest of this stuff on the roof, is the wiring because this all goes through the attic. I have 3 of these Soladecks, one for each face of the roof, and they each go into the attic. But yeah, so yesterday we actually did these panels, and I'll have see if I can get the tripod set up so we can show kind of the process for getting these on the roof, and then I'll have another video on the wiring.